Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Dan Ehlen. I'm with Ehlen Analytics. Today we have the one and only Ray Little down here with us in Tampa. So today we're going to be covering a lot of stuff, obviously pertaining to digital marketing and lead generation. But I also want to talk about what they have going on at SVG as well, because honestly, I've seen a lot of amazing stuff going on at SVG, and I'm really excited to get into it. So I kind of wanted to start out, man, a little bit about your background. And I know you've talked about it before. I mean, you've been on a number of podcasts. I think you're, arguably one of the most high-profile roofers in the country at this point, right? Everybody kind of wants to know what Ray's doing. But, obviously you had a tough background. You went to prison, I believe, 2 times. And, I think this is really a story that's worth hearing, because I don't know anybody else in the industry that has inspired the number of people that you've inspired.
Thank you.
So, yeah, of course. So could you tell me a little bit about, what it was, like what was the turning moment for you that kind of turned everything around?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm getting a little bit older now. I'm 48 years old. I'll be 49 this year. Thankfully, born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s and 90s, divorced, parents. Drinking in the house, drinking before they got divorced. They got divorced. Dad married somebody that was a big drinker. Mom married an engineer, good guy. We moved a lot though during that time. Went to 9 different schools, moved probably 11 times. So I was always kind of the weird kid in school. Learning disabilities. Didn't really have special education back then. I was dyslexic, so I wasn't the cool kid at all. No direction in the house. See my dad every other weekend. My dad was a lot well off, better than my mom. Mom was the home base from about 5 to 13 until I couldn't take it no more, and I had to go with dad just because I didn't really have the nicest clothes and the stability wasn't there. Just moved a lot. Just kind of got a little bit, sidetracked at that point in time. School wasn't my thing. Failed 9th grade, and when I failed 9th grade, I went back in 10th grade and I had to start in the 9th grade homeroom, and that was so embarrassing to me, I just didn't go back. So, that started my life of, really just kind of running the streets. I got my driver's license. Back then, you didn't get your driver's license, right then they mailed it to you. Drinking in the house at my dad's. I had moved with my dad at 13, so there's more of a stable environment where I could have nice shoes and clothes and stuff. Like that wasn't important, but it was then because I was tired of getting made fun of. So as soon as my license came in the mail back then, as soon as I opened it, I was waiting for it every day in the mail. So I left, and then I started sleeping on couches, lived in hotels. And actually graduated from a homeschool program, living in a hotel. So I used to live in the weekly stays.
Wow.
So I didn't really have it. I had some random jobs working at moving companies. Worked at this hotel company where you go in and you tear everything out and you live there for a while and you put everything back in and you just move your floors as you go down. I worked there. I put some epoxy floors in, and still on the side I was selling marijuana. Selling marijuana led into selling cocaine led into trafficking cocaine, which led into trafficking methamphetamines. And then basically when I was 18 years old, 19 years old, got in a really bad fist fight. A firearm was discharged. Somebody got hurt really bad. Ended up getting in trouble really for my first time, serious trouble. And ended up going to court and getting 10 years served 5.
Wow.
So that was my first prison stay. Basically went down there to South Georgia, worked at work camps, went to Jackson State Prison, then got sent to another prison and basically picked up trash on a shotgun detail out there. Stayed there about 3 years and then I paroled out. Once I paroled out from there, came home, moved to downtown Atlanta. That really made me a worse human being. That prison, I had got my master's degree in criminology basically down there, and violence and everything else. So basically stayed out about 3 years, maybe a little bit less, 3.5 years. I had violations for, dirty urines and stuff like that. So I was kind of in and out 2 weeks at a time. In Fulton County, they don't really monitor you like that. But ended up getting a racketeering conviction, and that was pretty serious. Ended up losing Altogether, 11 cars were seized throughout the whole racketeering, basically 2 homes, a lot of cash. Was going to go to trial on it, and then I ended up taking 8 years. Served 6 years on that. Still didn't really learn my lesson, man. I'm being honest with you. I thought I had kind of figured it out. I was like, I had lost everything I had built. Right.
And how old were you at that point?
I got convicted of racketeering at 26.
Gotcha.
But I went to prison my first time at 19. And then I came home, got convicted at 26. Ended up staying in prison until I was 33. And I'm being honest with you. I was like, I got one more. Because I lost everything. I lost all my cars, my homes, everything. And I was doing pretty good. I was probably worth $500,000, you know, and with equity and everything when I got locked up at 26.
That's pretty good for 26.
Well, yeah, I thought, I was going to retire from the street game at 30.
Okay.
Like work at like Home Depot or UPS or something once I had my house and my cars paid for. So I did have a plan, even though I was out there using drugs. I did have a plan. There was a plan in place.
Okay.
I was trying to build I had 2 homes in that I was making payments on, and like I said, all the cars. So went down there. Basically paroled out at 33, but the whole time I was down there, man, I was building a network. I had a cell phone in there. I was still making moves from in there. I was getting my DuPont registry mailed to me every month. I was just looking at the car I was going to buy when I came home. And just poor behavior, man. Just criminal addictive thinking, dude. And and I realize that now, didn't then. Well, I realized it then. I just didn't want to act on it. So I came home when I was 33 from the RICO Act. I'm going to be honest with you. Bought a CTSV the day I got out, Cadillac CTSV the day I got out. And then that weekend, my buddy, God rest his soul, he got murdered. He gave me a kilo of cocaine, and I was back. I was not even 3 days out.
Again.
Yeah, here it goes again. Stayed out there then, partying, trafficking drugs. And then got locked up on a weapons firearm violation. Every time I've been arrested, I had a firearm. So locked up on firearm violation. My parole actually ran out while I was locked up, so they gave me a bond. I bonded out, and then my kid's mother got pregnant with my son. And at this point is when that turn kind of happened.
Gotcha.
I was out on bond. And I was just taking, hit after hit, tens of thousands of dollars, lawyers and people running off with my stuff, or, just crazy stuff, and having to move so much. When you're running from the feds and state and stuff, I wasn't going to court. I was jumping court. I was having to stay at this apartment. I had an apartment here. I had an apartment here. So my cost of living was high just to stay free because I'm on the run. And then enough was enough. I'm being honest with you, and I was like, man, I got to change my life. I got a kid on the way. So ended up, my kid was born. I didn't go to court. I'm on the run. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to just go check myself into rehab. So June 6, 2012, I checked myself into a rehabilitation center.
Wow, 2012. Mm-hmm. And have you been sober ever since that day?
Yeah, alcohol and narcotics, no alcohol or narcotics since that day.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that I, really respect you a lot for is, in an industry that in a lot of ways is caught up in drugs and alcohol, you have kind of pushed all that to the side, which is a little unorthodox. Mm-hmm. When you think about contractors, sometimes they get a bad rep, but that was one of the things that really impressed me about you overall was like, when I saw your organization and your culture, it was a lot of guys that were kind of going against the grain of what people usually do in this industry. And so that was kind of when I first met you. That really impressed me a lot with you.
Thank you. Yeah, zero tolerance. There's just no room in it when you're building something. And I didn't even know what I was doing. I just knew what I didn't know what I was creating, right? Because I'm trying to find this. I don't care about when people say I'm here for the legacy. I'm here. Bro, I'm not here for no legacy. I'm here for stability.
Right, yeah.
I really never have had it.
Mm-hmm.
So that I was trying to create an environment where other guys like me could come and make, a good enough living so they could have some stability for the first time in their lives. So I didn't even know the word culture back then. I just knew what I wanted and what I was allowing around me. And around me was no, narcotics or alcohol.
Right. One of the big things that you talk about a lot, Ray, is leading from the front. And so I kind of want you to elaborate on that a lot, because when I see you on social media, especially back, pre-exit, you were climbing 7 days a week. I mean, every time I saw you on social media, you were climbing a roof, you were meeting with an adjuster, you were out in the field kind of knocking with guys. I want you to talk to me a little bit about what it means to kind of lead from the front.
Yeah, I mean, even before with my poor behavior, that I don't want to really glorify or romance about, but I led from the front in the streets, and I've always just led from the front. If there was some crazy something that had to be done in the street, I did it. I just did it. I didn't try to trick somebody to do it. I just did it. So when I came over to the legal world and changed my life and my criminal addictive thinking, that's all I knew is lead from the front. I grew up by myself, the only kid really in the house. My sister went with my dad's, and by the time I went with my dad, my sister was at the house in college. So I've always been by myself. So I've always led from the front. Even when I was a kid, there wasn't no phone. No cell phone. I'm almost 50. So there wasn't no cell phones. We done moved so much, so there wasn't no cable or nothing. I go out in the woods, and I have to lead from the front out there and find sticks and rocks and make forts and stuff by myself. So I've always just kind of did it, on my own and led from the front. So it's been natural for me from basically day one. But yeah, I mean, you have to, if it's your organization, nobody's going to build your baby for you. So you gotta lead from the front. I'm showing them, I like second chance guys, so I'm showing them on the roof and off the roof how you have to lead from the front and show up in every aspect of your life leading from the front.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things that I've always respected about you is like there's certain people that, kind of just bark orders and say, hey, I want you to go do A, B, and C, but they're sitting behind a desk not doing it themselves, right? And I think that really affects an organization overall. Because when you really look at, what you built, I mean, to me, the way I always looked at your organization was it was kind of the gold standard in roofing in the Southeast.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, that means a lot to me, man. Yeah, I think when you're barking orders and you're behind a desk, I think that's a boss in a company. Where, if you're leading from the front, that's a leader in a culture.
Right.
And a leader in a culture is more scalable than having a boss in a company, right?
True.
A boss, and he's not leading by example. He's not being the best man he can be, in his house either. I promise you that. If he's not showing up physically and mentally every day, ready to lead, I promise you, when he goes home, he's not showing up there either.
That's so true.
And so I've always just thought, you just be the best. When I made that turn, before I made that turn, I was probably one of the best drug trafficking, criminals there was, high level entrepreneur, drug trafficking multiple states, organized, cars with secret compartments in them, cell phones, we were communicating with pictures and not voice, when I got over to this space, I just took the same mentality and ran it over, right?
Yeah.
So I just think you got to show up and think outside the box if you're going to be different. I never wanted average. I know you just recently had your child. That and I have a 14-year-old I love to death. But and he came about in kind of an accident because I was still living poor. But before him, I never wanted the picket fence and the 2.5 kids and the way I always wanted more. I like the shiny things. I like the nice cars. I like the single lifestyle. I did like that. Now I'm a father and a leader and everything. I have my house and I love my wife. I have a beautiful wife. But before, all that happened, that was just natural progression. But I always wanted more, and I never wanted to be average. And even when I was a little kid, I knew I wasn't going to be average.
Right.
I knew I was different with learning disability and other stuff. I could feel it though.
And going back, I can again kind of see where your entrepreneurial journey kind of started a little bit, right? I mean, you always kind of had a knack for sales and selling things, right? Kind of started back in the day, it looks like. But when it comes to Perimeter, I kind of want to transition into, I think a lot of other roofing owners are really like intrigued by how you scale Perimeter, because Perimeter was not given to you. I mean, you and Todd started that, right? Mm-hmm. And it really scaled extremely quickly as well. Mm-hmm. When you're talking about scaling a company that does tens of millions of dollars per year, like, closing in on close to $100 million a year, how do you maintain that culture and the level of profitability while also, not burning your team out and kind of alienating your team a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we hired from within. So I always tell everybody, if you want to grow any organization, home services, any high sales organization, whatever it might be, that you have to be a personal development company first,
Right.
Then a marketing company second, and then a lead generation company third, and then whatever you do fourth is if I do windows, if I do roofing, you happen to do. So I'm a personal development company, lead generation marketing company that happens to do roofs.
Right.
And we got to be, we got to lead from the front. We got to, it's our product, it's our brand. So I'm going to, become a winner myself, and then I'm going to duplicate myself over and over again. These guys in these industries, in these blue collar industries, they wouldn't be in blue collar if they could sit there and just learn by reading a book.
True.
Most of these guys weren't rock stars in the classroom. They learned by seeing somebody do it, and then they are absolutely amazing. So you have to be out there showing them how to do it at the high level. I sold $1 million, I sold $2 million, and I handed out another $1 million. So that's what I did. Guys see me sell $2 million plus hand out another $1 million. Well, if the guys in the truck watching me or watching me in group me or watching me inside the sales organization do that, I'm duplicating those guys. And when I duplicating those guys like me that are morally highly motivated, maybe second chance guys, maybe got a lot of personality or ego, they'll naturally start to outgrow you. So before they outgrow me, I sit them down and have that conversation, and I say, hey, I can tell your behavior, right? That you want to go out on your own or do whatever. And that's fine. I'll support you if you want to go on your own. But there is other opportunities inside this organization to be an entrepreneur, and I'll set you up in another market and make you a 49% owner. And when I do this, they're like, because now they're seeing the stuff that I have, and they're like, oh man, I'm gonna really be a part of something. Mm-hmm. So that's how we were able to scale. But we scaled from within. I've never hired nobody or brought somebody outside my organization to go and start anything for me.
Interesting.
I brought them from within.
And you guys did that very effectively at a high level in terms of like scaling into new markets. I know obviously the Carver brothers are absolute studs, but they experienced a lot of growth underneath you. And I know you guys had a great relationship.
Oh yeah, they're phenomenal. Evans actually just went out on his own. I still support him. I love him to death. And Jay moved over to Texas to help us with one of our branches over there. I love those kids to death, but I got one when he was 19 and the other one when he was like 22.
Yeah.
And they just grew up inside the organization, and they're sponges for knowledge, and they also invest inside themselves outside the organization. Right. And they'll spend 20 grand, 30 grand to personally develop their own self of their own money. I'm pouring into them, and they're just like a sponge, and then they love it. And that's two of the best there is in the country.
They are, no doubt about
it. No
doubt.
You can be biased or not. I mean, I might be being a little bit biased, but numbers don't lie.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've always had a ton of respect for them, and it seems like at all these different events, Sam Taggart with the Golden Door Awards. It's a lot of your guys on that stage, right? Getting those $1 million rewards.
Yeah, and I love that, I love that, and I'm so happy for them too. You never want to outshadow your team, and when you see those guys, because people are like, oh, I don't want them to go because they're going to outgrow you. No. Everybody, when we're sitting at the dinner table, I want to sit with nothing but winners. Right. You shouldn't even be able to tell who the owner is when you sit at the table.
Absolutely, yeah, I love that, man. One of the pieces that I wanted to talk about with Perimeter was like, it seemed like during almost every phase of the year, Todd would be shouting out on Facebook, and guys, we have another 7-figure producer. It seemed like almost on a weekly basis, you guys were announcing a 7-figure producer or even a multi-7-figure producer. And I think, the first 7-figure producer would come out in like March or April, and it's like, we're just getting into spring and you already got 7 figures on the board. How do you go about recruiting those guys and getting those guys into the organization?
Yeah, so I don't like to recruit them. I like to build them.
Gotcha.
So I like to get somebody that when they come in the office, I usually want to take 2 guys at a time, and I train them myself. I know a lot of people, they like to poach, and they like to, hey, looking for, sales reps, we'll do a sign-in bonus, we'll do this, do that. We had some guys that come over from other roofing companies. What I learned over the years now is I'm getting older in my years in roofing. That person, it takes twice as long to train them because you got to train the bad habits out of them first. From their there's a reason they left. people don't really leave, good organizations. There's a lot of good, strong sales organizations out there. When you think you're probably really getting a jewel from them, you're probably not. You're probably getting a defect.
True.
A lemon law.
Lemon law
sales rep.
leaving?
Yeah, why are they leaving if you're $1 million producer? And the
Right.
first thing they would need is a sign-in bonus or a draw so they can get gas
Company
or
truck.
diesel. Yeah. But like, if you're $1 million producer, you've already had to buy a truck because you need a write-off because you're a
Right.
1099 subcontractor. So the stories, it's all smoke and mirrors usually.
True.
I like to personally develop guys from the gym industry or that was Todd's. I don't go to the gym. I run, race bikes. We like to get him from a physical aspect. Alton is a big gym guy, so he recruited big time from the gyms. But I like to get those people from that discipline area. Like if they're going to be at the gym Friday night at 9:30, I want that guy. If they're going to be at the gym 6 o'clock before they go to church on Sunday morning, I want that guy.
Right.
Healthier people are easier to manage, and they sell better. If they're put together, they take care of their body, they're disciplined. Man, all you got to do is teach them the trade then. I can't teach you how to, well, I can, but it's hard to as a 1099, right?
Sure.
And I'm not your life coach. I've done life coach some of them before and been their counselors and their life coach. But if they come in already dialed in and their physique's right, man, I know that I can get those up to speed really quick, dude.
No doubt.
And that's the trait of $1 million producer, a multi-million-dollar producer. They're highly disciplined human beings outside of the organization before they come in. Are they going to come in and they're going to be a sponge and they're going to soak all that up? Because we didn't have the events like we didn't have we didn't go out. We didn't go to Cancun and drink 7 days. That wasn't a company trip. We didn't do company trips.
Yeah.
If you had off time outside our organization, you better go home and hug your wife and kiss your kid because there's a chance you ain't seen them in a while.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest with you.
I love that,
Yeah,
man.
people hate me when I say that, but yeah, if you got downtime, it ain't no time for no trip. You need to go home and spend some time with your family because if you've been out there working with me, you probably ain't seen them in a couple of weeks.
Right. You're out making money as well, which sacrifices have to be made.
Yeah, I lead from the front, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not telling them to go get it. I say, let's go get it.
True. I love that, man. One thing I've always heard is, you hire for character, you train for the skills.
That's it.
Right?
That's a good one.
I fully believe in that as well, man. One of the marketing strategies that we rolled out, super effectively for you guys in terms of implementing new locations is just setting up and establishing additional Google business profiles. Mm-hmm. That's something that I see a lot of the, either multi-7-figure contractors or even the 8-figure contractors execute at a very high level as well. And our COO, Zach Glover, has done a phenomenal job in building out those systems for us. Mm-hmm. He kind of came to us as a account manager, and we very quickly moved him up to COO just because he's one of the most talented individuals that I've ever met.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's really been able to do a lot in terms of helping our clients establish additional GBP locations. Because if you look at, let's say you have a Google business profile ranking in a 15-mile radius. There's only so much reach that profile can hit. Once you start getting to 20 or 30 miles, I had a guy tell me the other day, he was in mid-Georgia and he wants to rank in Atlanta. And I'm like, Bob, the internet doesn't work that way anymore, my friend, right? Yeah. Organically speaking, right? Obviously, we can run paid traffic and paid ads and pick up, some additional exposure in areas. But one of the areas that we've really seen clients dominate is the multiple GBP route. Who are some big up and coming roofers that you've seen as of late that have kind of really caught your attention in the marketplace that may or may not be associated with your brand?
Oh, well, yeah. With not associated with mine, Joshua Stein.
I was going to mention
him
him
I just met him the other day, and I didn't. For some reason, he wasn't on my algorithms, and I met him at a conference, and now his stuff's banging off on me, and I sit there and I go back and forth with him, and I text him. I like to see organizations like that grow. He's a huge one. That was a little unkept secret. I just met him the other day.
Yeah.
But he phenomenal organization. Obviously, Stronghouse is amazing organization. They're killers. Kurt Liddington and everybody that he's ever even spoken to is an absolute beast.
True.
One Solutions out in Arizona. Adam Troner, Drew. They got the hardest last names, and I'm not a big reader, but Drew. Shout out to Drew. Those are just absolute rock stars, personalities, multi-million-dollar producers, building 2-tier teams. running 30, 40, 50, 100 guys up under them.
Yeah.
9-figure sales teams.
Right.
Is bananas, man. And they are, and every one of them are dialing in too, and off the roof.
Right.
No drinking, physical fitness, giving back to the community, leading from the front, never going home. I know that's not a big one, but I mean, they're out there. Like Adam will call me in the morning, like, hey man, what's up? And I'm like, where are you at? And he's like, I'm in Utah. Or he'll call me, I'm in Colorado. Where you gonna come meet us at the dunes or whatever? But just absolute rock stars. And what's cool about them all, they're all doing the same thing.
Agreed.
They're physically fit.
Yep.
They're sober.
Yep.
They're highly driven. They're working on the road, and they're characters, man. But they all have one trait in common.
Agreed, 100%. I'm glad you brought up Josh Steinberger. That's actually a client of ours as well. He's actually transitioning into a couple key markets also. We're establishing, additional Google business profiles, and he's a very up-and-coming roofer, man. I mean, he's an absolute stud. That entire organization is phenomenal. So glad he's on your radar too.
Yeah, I just met him, and I've seen his picture of his Aston Martin. I met him out of the car. I was like, God,
Yeah.
what are those broke folks gonna do? And he's like, oh man. But and like I said, it's just culture. The ones that are sticking out are the ones that are just doing the exact same thing, and they're not copying us; they're doing their own thing.
True.
But they're all just dialed in, and it's the same recipe everywhere.
Yeah, no doubt,
So,
no doubt.
It's
It is. You
not
can
rocket
duplicate
science.
it, right?
Yeah.
Same thing you did with the Carvers and all the additional locations. Like you said, you just duplicates its success. So I think that's massive, man. So, one of the questions that I had for you as well, man, obviously we've done a lot of business together over the years. I wanted to ask you, what was one of the reasons why you initially chose Ehlen Analytics and why you continue to do business with us over the years and, are referring us out to people you trust within your circle?
Well, true results, math first. True results and math. I know where I was at when I talked to you, and I know where I was at when I sold.
Yep.
So just math, right? It was gonna be, and then you and Matthew, when I talked to you on the phone, y'all didn't try to sell me. You were honest. And what I realized after getting burned a couple of times or hearing these, the snake oil stuff, you weren't pushy or anything. Y'all were clean-cut individuals. You're faith-based. You didn't tell me you're a Christian the day one. I could tell by your actions.
Right.
And that's what don't tell me. Here's one thing. If you tell me you're a Christian day one, I already know I'm probably going to be in court with you, and you don't probably got me.
Right.
So I could tell you and Matthew were you live by what you say, and I found out that you were you were faith-oriented. So, and then, after, even coming to your wedding and meeting your wife and everything and seeing that the families that you're around, that's when I started referring people.
Yeah.
Just to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I knew they weren't going to get burned. I knew you weren't a scam. I knew we were a product of your families. So I felt good leaning in and saying, hey, this is my guy and you should go with them too. It really wasn't even about marketing there. It was about character.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that, man. I mean, that definitely means a lot to us. And, anybody that you send over to us has an asterisk on their account because, we really did everything that we possibly could to make sure Perimeter was successful.
And it shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
My bank account shows.
Absolutely. I would say so. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. And so, we genuinely want to do a good job for contractors. Like if you look at the amount of improvements that our agency makes on a weekly and monthly basis, like you should see a lot of the meetings that we have internally. Like we're changing stuff up almost on a monthly basis. And obviously, our COO, Zach Glover, is leading a lot of those changes within the organization. But, with Google's algorithm and everything, that's constantly changing in this digital landscape, it's super important to have an agency that's kind of on top of that. And we're, really proud of, the work that we do and just kind of helping contractors grow.
Yeah, it's a relationship. So I say when you get with a marketing company like I did with y'all, it's a relationship. It's a marriage. When you get with a marketing company, it's not overnight. Overnight is knocking doors and buying lead packs. When you're building a brand, you have to build a relationship. It's a marriage. Your marriage isn't going to be, your marriage, the honeymoon phase is always good, right? It's exciting and everything. But even as your marriage goes on, right, it's like more and more and more, and it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. The communication's always great. You explain what you're doing, you're getting on the calls, there's no shadiness, there's no running from, if somebody did drop the ball or not. You never dropped it with me, but I'm just saying there's the accountability's there if because people are always so scared to go to marketing, but what's the difference between a $3 million or $1 and $3 million company and a $20 million company is usually that the 1 and 3 was scared to spend the money.
True.
So they're still 1 to 3, 5 to 10 years down the road. And they're like, how did you get to 20 million? Well, I built a relationship with my marketing company I led from the front. But they go hand in hand. If you want to build a brand, you have to spend money marketing. And if you're already behind the curve and your business is failing, you might want to go out and knock doors and buy a lead pack until you get it more stable. Then you bring your marketing company on, and then you build a brand.
That's such a great point, man. And when you're talking about, the profitability in companies that, kind of stay stuck at like maybe a couple million per year, and then the guys that do tens of millions of dollars per year, one of the things that we really look at as a marketing agency is helping our clients identify their numbers. So if you don't know how much money you spend in marketing and what your cost per acquisition is, you're kind of flying blind a little bit. And, that can work for a certain period of time, but we like to really identify if you're getting a 3x ROI on Facebook ads and a 5x ROI in Google, maybe we should put some more money into Google, right?
Yeah, and maybe you should train your person that's taking inbound calls to figure out where the inbound call's coming from, so you can give your marketing company the tools that they need so they can help you be more successful too. It's a two-way street.
True.
I can't just throw it at you and say, hey, make me tens of millions of dollars. It's an effort, it's an effort. I got to educate you about if I see something going on in my industry, and we got to bounce ideas off each other. But you have to use your CRM. You have to, I have to get the correct data and journal, however you want to say it, and give it back to you when we do meet and say, hey, I'm seeing this on our end. And you're saying, yeah, well, on my end, I'm actually seeing this too. And I think that's huge. I don't think you can just like, oh, it's just not working. Well, you got to translate the data too.
True. Attribution is a big piece. I mean, you got to be tagging those leads properly in your CRM. If it's coming from a specific tracking number, that it's tracked back to either LSA or a Google Ads campaign. It's really big with us is tracking because we want to know what's working too. It's our job as an agency to kind of double down on the areas that are working for you.
If you go in the doctor and say my head's hurting and we can't, and then my head's hurting.
True, exactly.
And I got nothing else for you.
What have you been doing? Exactly, right.
Right. Well, it's the same thing with a marketing company. That's a relationship. But like I said, if you want to build a brand, you have to spend money marketing it. And that is what it is. And if you're not growing, you need to look in the mirror and then also look in the physical mirror and say, am I the best version of who I am? And then look at your business mirror and say, hey, am I spending the money? Maybe you don't need that motor home. Maybe you don't need those billboards. Look at the financial mirror too and see where you're throwing the money at too. Maybe I don't need the company trip this year that's 30 grand. Maybe I should throw that and spend that on marketing to grow. So it's, there's a lot to it, man.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so fun. I love it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. You have a very deep understanding of like marketing in general and lead generation that most roofers actually don't have, but you have a very deep understanding of that, which is awesome.
There was no plan B. There was no plan B. So I wanted to understand my business through and through, so I could relay the information to you. And then when you're sitting there talking to me, you're the expert, and I'm paying you the money. So while you're sitting there talking to me, I'm not on my phone and fidgeting and stuff. I want to. I'm trying to get it all and do my own research too, and bounce ideas off of you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So one of the next things that I wanted to go over with you, to kind of echo that point, and I think Gary Vee was the one that initially said this. Digital leads are not cheap, especially in the digital landscape today. Media buying is becoming extremely competitive. Leads today are not cheap. I'll never say leads are cheap, right? However, they are only going to get more expensive as time goes on. So if you can't figure out how to make it work today, these companies are going to be in a lot of trouble next year. For our own personal restoration company, we're spending, year one, we're spending just in paid traffic, sometimes 10 grand a month. I know guys for a fact that are doing close to 10 million a year. And when you say, hey, let's spend 10 grand a month in ad spend, they're like, whoa, wait a minute, right? And so, it comes back to knowing your numbers. Like if you know that for every $1,000 you spend, you sell a $5,000 or you profit $5,000 on a roof on the back end, you can confidently spend as much money as you want and put as much money into that machine as you possibly can. Right? So I think just having confidence in your numbers is super important.
It's having confidence in your numbers too, and we got to know who's out running the lead.
True.
So if you haven't personally developed your people and trained them how to close these leads, you're throwing money out that window. But so it starts with you. It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
You can't just send leads and send them to an unexperienced, and he's not a closer. Yeah. And you're going to send this lead and say, oh, that lead's not no good. Well, is the lead not no good, or is your guy no good?
True.
So there's some self-accountability too. A lot of people start leaning on leads when numbers go down.
Right.
And what they don't realize is you haven't personally developed your sales team enough to go close these leads. Because if you get on the roof and it's not ready, there's never a bad lead.
True.
It just wasn't ready.
True.
So it goes in the CRM, and we go retrack it every 90 days and go look at it again. There's not a bad lead. It just wasn't ready.
That's so true, man. And one of the big words that you said there was accountability, right? Because like sometimes it's very easy for the sales rep to say, oh man, this is a terrible lead, right? You know, I can't work with this lead. Like you said, there's no such thing as a bad lead. If somebody's calling you that is interested in having you come out and take a look at your roof, that's a good lead.
That's a good lead. That's going, and if it's not ready, that's going in your business 401k. So you upload it in your CRM, and you can put a marker on it. There's software that you can put a marker on it, and when that address gets hit again, you reach back out to there. But if your sales rep isn't going out there and getting the correct information and just going through the motions, just running the lead and not putting the CRM and not getting the information and not the right notes, then it just wasn't ready.
True.
Do you see what I'm saying? So there's not a bad lead. It just wasn't ready. So we just put that in our business 401k.
Right.
We'll cash it in on the next storm, or maybe 3 years from now.
That's such a good point. Even if they're not ready today, you got a storm come through it.
Email blast. Yeah. We knock it. We reset it every night. Hey, Miss Smith, I know you weren't ready when we were in June, but now we're in September. You've actually had a couple of storms. Let us come take a look at the roof again. We go out there, we do a free seal up on the nail heads. Boom, it wasn't ready again. Well, guess what? I'm going to be back out there when? If I'm out there in September, I'm going to be back out there, probably more towards March to see if it's ready, unless we get a catastrophic event. But if you're keeping your data and you have your relationship with your marketing company, there's not a bad lead. It just wasn't ready then.
True.
It's a future customer.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Absolutely. While we're kind of talking about leads a little bit, I want to transition a little bit into AI, because I know AI is a very hot topic right now. Everybody seems to be talking about AI, which rightfully so. The technology is amazing, but one of the things that we're seeing, and we've actually had some firsthand experience with this with certain clients, is they're using AI to answer calls, specifically paid traffic calls. And I don't know about you, Ray, but like, if I call a roofing company and the AI stumbles at all and says something like, I'm having a hard time understanding you, or can you repeat that again? I'm hanging up and calling the next person.
100%. They might call it and say, hey, I need a repair. I got a leak. And then the robot comes on and sets the appointment. Okay, well, if a human answers and you trained your human, like I said, a marketing company can't save you. If you trained your human to answer, okay, you got a leak. What's the age of the roof? Oh, the roof's 17 years old. Where are you at? I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, then they can look on the software and say, oh, we had a storm there. So they called for a leak. A human can convert that to a replacement and know who to send it to by the person that's talking, where AI is just going to book an appointment and probably send it straight to the repair department.
Right.
AI is great, but you got to personally develop the women in the office, the men and women in the office nowadays, right. The men and women in the office. You got to train them and to convert it, and then they know who to send it to, and then that might just went to a repair for AI department because of the key indicators or whatever. But we know we had a good storm there and the age of the roof's there. We can just go ahead and send a guy out there. So you got to personally develop your people and give them the AI tools to be more efficient so they can sell more. It's not going to replace salespeople, and it shouldn't really replace people in the office that are running leads, because those should be in sale too, and they should be converting as quick as the salespeople are.
Such a good point, man. AI is not going to completely take over. Yeah, it's the people that use it the best.
It's data entry. It will take over a data entry spot, but if you're dealing with a potential client, customer, whatever, it is just a tool so you can deal with more and be more efficient and sell better. It still should be a human, and you're just giving that human the power to be more efficient so they can sell better or be more organized. It should never replace a sales position or an incoming lead that can be converted from a repair to a full replacement.
Absolutely, man. And to be clear, like, I don't fully hate AI. Have it answer after hours calls, 2 or 3 a.m., just to kind of bring something in. But we also just rolled out an American call center that's 24/7, 365, that can answer inbound calls, just as cheap as AI, which is phenomenal, right? It's going to do just as good of a job. They'll book it into your CRM. It does a great job. So I'm a big fan of just more human interaction.
Yeah, more human. That's what I'm saying. It's going to make everybody. It's going to ruin a lot of businesses, and then we're going to do the same thing with Amazon. People are with Amazon now that you gotten so used to just ordering everything. Now people have been doing that for some years, and now people are like, man, I want some humor and action, and they're actually going back out to the stores and shopping again.
Right.
Because they want to see the variety there.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's going to run the same course.
Absolutely, man. Well, let's get into some SVG stuff, man, because, but before we dive into a lot of the SVG stuff, I just kind of want to go back to how I initially met you, man. So the first time I met you, shout out to my boy Brad Akers. I met up with Brad, who, those of you that don't know Brad, I think he's a world-class individual. I think Brad is actually highly underrated as a consultant in the roofing industry. He's got a lot of really good stuff for no matter where you're at in the roofing industry, like no matter how big your company is. I think Brad Akers has a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, phenomenal. One of the first people I talked to in the industry that wasn't like on my team, and I think he actually has a roofing company now.
He had one previously. He works at Wabo now.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't know, but I was texting him in Messenger the other day and just talking to him. So I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah, I love Brad Akers,
he's cool, man.
He's a great guy. But we were walking into the convention hall, and up and down the convention hall, granted, this is my first roofing convention ever. There were Lambos, Porsches, Ferraris, I think a Rolls for Todd. I'm like, Brad, like, what's going on, man? Like, I thought this was a roofing show, right? And he's like, oh, no, man, that's perimeter. I'm like, what's perimeter, right? What's perimeter? And he's like, you'll see, man, we'll go in. He's like, they're the real deal. And so we went in, we talked to you and Todd, and you guys were arguably the most successful guy at the entire convention, but super humble, super down to earth. You weren't at any of the cocktail hours.
I didn't know they had them.
Yeah, exactly. And like, it's a big pattern interrupt for what you're used to seeing. But that was kind of my first experience with you at the conventions, which I thought was amazing. And then, talking about just conventions in general, I think overall, like, what SVG is doing in the industry is phenomenal. I think Josie Parks is also another world-class individual. And I really like a lot of the things that you guys have going on over there. Talk to me a little bit about the SVG platform and kind of some of the in-person consultations that you guys are doing.
Yeah, so Win the Storm was one of the first places the only place I ever got education from. I've been going to Win the Storm, I think, since 17 or 18. I used to go, I'd bring the whole team with us. And we always had nice cars there, Lamborghinis or Rollses or, R8s or whatever. That's what we drive at home. If we're out of town, that's what I want to drive there. I don't ride in Ubers. If I ride in an Uber, I ride in the XL or the Uber Black. Because I don't want to get killed in a little Kia. I don't even know who's driving. I don't want to get T-boned by a semi from, whoever this guy is driving me. So if I ride that way at home, I'm gonna ride that way anywhere I go, and I'm a big car guy. And Todd is a big car guy. We went to Win the Storm. Back then, that was about the only education place I seen, the breakout sessions. And people used to give Win the Storm the worst name. But like you said, you didn't see me at the cocktail hour. I never even knew any of that stuff was going on, because the first breakout session was 7 in the morning, and we had already, the week before, we had already seen all the we've already circled all the ones we're going to. So we would be up at 4:30 in the morning, hitting the gym at 6, or going to run, and some of us would run, some of us would go to the gym, meet back, eat breakfast at the hotel or the Airbnb, wherever we head to Win the Storm, hit the breakouts all day, leave there, eat dinner together, and we were all in bed by 8 or 9:30. Or scrolling at 8, all of us in the Airbnb or whatever. But it was only education for us. So Josie bought it a couple years ago. He bought Win the Storm and SVG. So then he called me shortly after. Josie's a phenomenal individual. He's not really a social butterfly. I'm not either, but I am very on Facebook is how I socialize. So I'm on there a lot. So he actually wanted me to kind of be the face of SVG. Plus I was out there selling a lot and doing the $1 Million Producer. So it was just a great fit. Great timing for me because I was rolling out of my 2-year agreement with private equity after I sold. And man, great fit for me because I was kind of lost after I left my organization. As men, we're built to create and build things and be providers and stuff like that. So it gave me purpose again in the right time. So we're over there. We built out the digital training. We just launched it basically on the 28th of February. Or 28th of, what month were we in? No, we lost the 20 something last month, sorry.
January, yeah.
January, yeah. We dropped on the 28th of January. And yeah, just doing great, man. And just filming episodes. It's the business plan for me with it. It is your financial roofing gym membership to grow your roofing company.
Yeah.
So just like you got your gym membership to LA Fitness or Planet Fitness or whatever chains near you, you should have this as your financial roofing membership to continue to grow and progress. I update the courses every month. We also have the 2 days with Alton, which is another pupil of mine.
He's great.
He's a phenomenal individual, really better than me. Definitely better than me at the doors. Good looking young kid that's been in the industry 10 years. Worked for private equity, had his own thing, worked with us. So he's well-rounded at 1 million to 100 million. He's ran both sides of the spectrum on that, and he's out there doing 2 days. I go out and climb and do 2 days if it's in a state I'm allowed to. I'm not allowed to go to 14 states, but if you do sign up, I will be climbing in that state because I enjoy to go out there and kill it. I went to Oklahoma City with a roofing company, and actually we signed 240 squares in 48 hours. So we actually paid for our stay, and I love doing it. I love training and teaching guys. I think that's part of my calling. So yeah, I mean, really, SVG is great, but basically it saved me. It's a hobby for me now to keep me from going bananas.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're a very driven individual. I always kind of wondered what is Ray gonna do after, and I would kind of agree. I think it's both a perfect fit for you, and I think you're a perfect fit for SVG as well.
You,
yeah, I mean it's a phenomenal platform. I mean, I just know conferences in general. I can honestly say I've met some of the most amazing people in my life at conferences, like Sean Meredith. Massive OG,
yeah. Well, he worked with me.
Yeah, I know.
I used to hire him to bust open markets for me in Florida.
Amazing.
Yeah, and man, a character too, right? He's a straight character. Amazing individual. But yeah, I've used him in Georgia and in Florida. Man, there's something else, bro. That's the OGs right there.
He's a dog, man.
Yeah, they're real dogs.
I remember when he came up for a storm in Georgia, and I called you. I'm like, Ray, man, how did it go? And you're like, he killed it, man.
Yeah.
Day one, he just killed it, man.
Yeah.
And if Sean impresses you on the doors, for anybody to impress you at door to door, that's saying something, man.
Yeah. They're a different breed, man. They're straight dogs, man, and they're the old school door knockers, and it just unmatched really potential. Now these young guys they got their style, but that's Sean. That's that dog mentality on those doors.
Yep, love Sean Meredith. I've just met so many amazing people at the convention.
Yeah, I love all the conferences. There's good ones out there. Win the Storm, obviously the number one for me. I love it. Changed my life. All my education come from there. Just recently, flew in from SRC.
April Hall. She has a great event.
I think that's how you say it. SRC.
Yeah, SRC.
They had me out. I spoke on stage twice in the VIP and then the regular. RoofCon this year, spoke with Sam and Randy and some good guys up on the stage on that one. I enjoy the conferences. And John Cenac, I was up on stage with him. I enjoy going and giving back to an industry that saved my life. You got to continue to give back. It's like recovery. You got to continue to pour into other people. You got to continue, or church service work. Yeah, it's you got to do service work. You got to do service. Don't just show up. If you're going to be about something, you got to do the service work too.
It's a good way of looking at it. I mean, for an industry that's obviously done so well for you, you're kind of pouring back into the industry.
You have to, or it'll keep giving. It's still given to me. It's still given to me. I still make a lot of money from it.
Yeah,
even
of course.
gone, right? Right, selfishly. Right. But like I said, but man, it saved my life. It wasn't about I wasn't a fit anywhere else. I don't fit in anywhere, and just thinking outside the box. It was so fragmented when we got into it. I call it old man roofing. If you're still doing the old man roofing, that's why you've been in the game for 30 years. Right. I got in and out in 8, with 8-figure exit personally. Like I said, just thinking outside the box, spend the money on the marketing, spend the money on CRM, spend the money on the storm tracking, spend the money, get in and out, quit being so skeptical.
Right.
Spend the money and get out the way. Build something and scale it and get out the way. Whether you sell it to private equity or you go to the house and pass it down to the other leaders that you've created.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to spend the money though and get the technology. It'll blow you by. You see so many people in these fragmented industries. There's a lot of home services industries are so fragmented. They're fragmented because the owners are trying to run their business like the 80s and the 90s.
True.
And they don't want to go with the technology and they don't want to spend the money.
Absolutely, man.
It's not rocket science, bro. I can barely read and write in and out in 8 years.
True.
But I spent the money, I drank the Kool-Aid, and I went to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you clearly did it at a very high level. And, like I said, the organization that you created, in my eyes, was always kind of like the gold standard. So,
well, thank you, man. That means a lot to me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, Ray, I appreciate you coming on board and coming down here, man. And it was an amazing podcast. I mean, I learned a lot. I think that your story altogether is extremely inspiring. And, at the end of the day, if we can change a couple people's lives today, I think that's what it's all about, man.
Yeah,
and,
thank you, man. Yeah, people like to hear about the poor behavior turnaround, but I think once this group of people get back around, I think we're going to get back to, the guys that have been out here doing right the whole time, like you've never had to go. These guys have been, there's so many guys in this, even in the industry, and there's so many guys just in life that have been out here doing the right thing, working hard, and they don't get to get on the cameras or nothing. But that's who we need to be patting on the backs, because they've been out here being productive citizens this whole time.
Right, the whole time.
The whole time. That's who needs the pat on the back. I know this one gets abused and likes, but hey, look, I've been clapping for I got friends that will never be on a podcast, but man, I'm like, man, that's an amazing individual, you know what I mean? And they've been just doing right the whole time, and they don't get rewarded at all.
True.
So hopefully society will get back to that. Right. Where we're praising the guys, that the ones that have been out here leading, being family men and doing from day one, paying taxes the whole time and everything.
True.
So I hope we can get back to that.
Amen to that, man. I think everybody just loves a good comeback.
They like the good comeback
right?
story. And I appreciate it because and it was great. But like I said, I'm praising the ones that people like, man, he went to prison, did all that. Yeah, I know, and thank you, and I love it because it's made my story great, and it's made me a lot of money, and it gets and it gets my endorphins going and everything too. But like I said, as men, you're a great leader, you're a young father. I think we gotta get back to that too, and we gotta start highlighting those people.
Absolutely, man.
Yep.
Well, Ray, I appreciate you, brother.
Yep,
thank you so much, my man.
Thanks, bro.
And we'll talk to you guys here soon. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Take care.